Rob sits here. Right? Outreach.
Oh,
Outreach.
Outreach Alliance.
People in the organization.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Good. Very receptive.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Mr.
You want to do a little bit of a... Any questions?
Stand beside.
Okay. So Mr. Ford, can we do the scrum right now?
Hey?
You want to do the scrum right now? Or no?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Can you talk about like how you feel Chinese community?
I know the Chinese community well. I've traveled through Asia. I've been to Hong Kong. I've been to Taiwan. I went to Korea. I've been to Japan. I know it very well, and I support the Chinese community. Very hard-working people, and you create thousands of jobs here in Canada and around the world, and I appreciate your work ethic.
Okay. How about Chinese culture, Chinise food?
Yeah, I haven't missed too much Chinese food, that's for sure. I need to. My favorite Chinese food is at 1500 Royal York Road called Mayflower Chinese food. I haven't missed too many combo ones. I call them combo ones. I get the egg rolls and I get the chicken balls and the rice, and that's how I get 300 pounds of fun. That's a lot of good food, that's for sure.
Do you know what the Chinese community needs?
Pardon me?
Do you know the needs of the Chinese community?
Well, the needs are all the same, I think. People are sick and tired of paying these high taxes. I think every community doesn't want to pay the $60 car registration tax, and they don't want to pay the land transfer tax. The property taxes go up every year 5%. They're paying $200 in garbage fees. Their water rates have gone up 20%. 5-cent bag tax. It's tax, 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 spend, spend, spend. And as a businessman, I don't work like that. I've opposed every single tax increase and user fee in the last 10 years I've been on government. And it's about time we change the way City Hall runs. And I can assure you there won't be any new taxes when I'm mayor.
Okay, then we do more questions inside.
One more question. How about new immigrant policy?
Well, what I was saying, I've always said, we don't have any control over immigrants coming to the city, and I welcome them. But I think the first thing we have to do is try to take care of the 2.7 million people we have here already. You look at the congestion. You look at the wait times at hospitals. You look at the infrastructure, the doctors. There's not enough doctors to serve the people. And we want to bring another million people in here. Imagine if we bring in another million people and have 3.7 million right now. But we don't have a say in it, and I welcome it. It's the federal government and I don't know who's making this immigration a municipal issue, but it's a federal issue, and we have no say over it. And like I said, I welcome newcomers, but I've always said I think we should take care of the people we have first and try to deal with the problems we already have.
Good, good.
Well, for you. I apologize for being late. I got caught up with Chorus Entertainment downtown, and as you know, the traffic is an absolute nightmare out there. So.
今天不好意思，因为副执先生有那个交通的问题比较延后一点，所以谢谢大家的那个耐心。
I'm fine, thank you.
小姐先生，各位支持福特先生竞选市长的这个朋友。
Welcome all media and the press and everyone who supports Mr. Ford.
我叫沈庆瑞，是这一次这个记者会筹备会的这个负责人。
Mr. San Qingrui is the person responsible for the event to support Mr. Ford for the Chinese community.
我现在简单介绍一下这在座的，这个从这边是袁海耀袁先生。
Mr. Alex Wu.
这个我们未来的市长。
Our future mayor, Mr. Rob Ford.
这个中医养生学会的会长。 王草林王先生。
Okay, Mr. Wang Choulun, the Yangqiang Society of the TCM.
还有我们好几位在这边的，是我们的社会领导，还有中医界的领导。
And all the leaders of the TCM leaders too.
这个我们是一群多伦多的华裔公民，今天在这个地方举行记者发布会，主要的有2个目的。第一个目的，历来选举候选人老抱怨华裔选民不出来投票，不关心公共事务。那么这个华裔选民又说了，你叫我怎么投票？我根本听不懂他的话，我看不懂他们的文字，我不知道他们在说什么。所以今天我们就利用这个平台，把福特先生这个请来，把媒体朋友请来，那么让大家做一个交流，让我们的这个华裔的选民了解福特先生是怎么样的一个人，将来他要怎么做他的市长。
We are a group of Toronto Chinese citizens. The purpose of today's press conference is to allow Mr. Ford to express his points of being the mayor of Toronto. And since in the past history, lots of people said Chinese community don't come out to vote. That's not the true story. The major reason is because we have a language barrier. Okay, we need to communicate, and this is a big market in Toronto. So today we have this platform to allow Mr. Ford and the campaign team to come and express their point, and so we know what to do, what to support, who to support, and if anybody has any questions, this is a good chance to ask them.
华裔选民在多伦多市占很多的人口，所以我们希望福特先生将来当选的多伦多市长，要特别关注这个人群，特别关注这个人群，这个人群在想什么，你要特别关心。
There's many Chinese in Toronto, over 300,000. Okay, this is a big market, and this is a group of people that the mayor should take lots of concerns and details too.
接下来第2个目的，我们想在这个地方借这个机会，向这个大家推荐我们心目中市长的理想候选人福特。
The other purpose is to let everybody know why we are supporting Mr. Ford. What is the ideal mayor of Toronto? How can one be the ideal mayor of Toronto?
那么我们有以下3个理由。第一个理由，在对待多元文化方面，加拿大是一个多元文化的国家，任何族裔的文化都应该受到应有的尊重跟平等的对待。
Our reason to support Mr. Ford is about the cultural aspect. Canada is a multicultural society. Okay, any ethnic culture should be respected and should be treated fairly and equally.
史密斯们在这个任职省卫生厅长期间，主导中医针灸立法，明显歧视中医，歧视中华文化。
During the terms of Smithman as the health minister, he's the one who guides the TCM Act and regulation. And it's very obvious that there is discrimination against TCM doctors, there's discrimination against Chinese culture.
让我们中医业界、中医的朋友、中医的病人，尤其是华人的病人，非常恐慌，认为将来我们没有办法找到真中医去医病。
It creates a scene that all patients are worried whether they can find a very good a very professional TCM doctor for their treatment.
我们都这个在海外的这些华裔都有一个共识：国可灭而文化不可灭。
All Chinese here overseas respect their own culture a lot. Okay.
因此，我们不能允许使这门做我们的市长。
Therefore,
而福特先生公平对待各族裔的文化，关心市民身心健康，是理想的市长候选人。
Therefore, we don't think Smithman is a good choice for the mayor. However, Mr. Ford is the one who treats all ethnic culture fairly and equally. And he pays a lot of attention to all citizens' health, total health, physically and overall health. And he is the ideal mayor of Toronto.
在从政操守方面，史密斯曼在任职卫生厅长期间，执行所谓的电子医疗计划，投入10亿加元，最后以失败告终，浪费公帑。
As the political conduct aspect, Smithman, during his term as the Minister of Health, there is an e-health program. It spends millions of dollars and it's waste, and it became a very bad result, and lots of money goes into the drain.
而福特先生在这个合法的办公费当中一毛不花，在所有的市议员中绝无仅有。
And Mr. Ford, during his legal terms of using the office expenditure, everybody knows it's zero. And he is the only one in the city council.
不为权势，不为暴利，从政10年来一向如此。
Okay. He's not looking for power and not wasting money, and this is an ideal mayor of Toronto.
以小可以事大，福特看紧人民荷包，杜绝浪费，是市长的理想人选。
From small things, we can know how one people himself is. And he looked very tight on everybody's pocket. He wants to save money. He doesn't want to waste. And he is the future mayor of Toronto.
第三个，在家庭生活方面，这个史密斯曼说他自己是一个同性恋者，这是他个人的权利，我们给予尊重。
In the family aspect, Smithman is a homosexual. This is his own right. Okay, we respect his right.
而福特先生跟我们大家一样，是一个重视传统家庭生活的人。相较之下，他也是一个市长的理想候选人。
As Mr. Ford is a person who respects traditional family values, and comparatively, we can all say Mr. Ford is the best ideal mayor for Toronto.
为了我们明日的城市发展，为了我们明日的生活要更好，为了我们的下一代，恳请媒体朋友将我们的信息传达出去，呼吁社会各界投票支持福特当选市长。
For the future of the city development, for the future of our everyday lives to be better, for our next and upcoming generation, we hope all the media will pass our message on. Call on every communities to support Mr. Ford as the mayor of Toronto. And we will
同时，我们也要监督福特做好市长，远离贪腐，为人民服务。福特同意吗？
as the citizen ourselves, if Mr. Ford becomes the mayor, we will of course use our own right to look after what he's doing. Whether he's serving our people, we're giving him his chance and he's giving us our chance. So, Mr. Ford, do you agree?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. And I'll tell you a little bit about.
OK。同时，为了凝聚各界支持福特的力量， 我们将在10月9号晚上7点，在世纪大皇宫大酒楼举办募款晚会。
In order to show all the community's effort and power for supporting Mr. Ford, there will be a dinner gala on October 9th, 7 o'clock at Century Palace Restaurant for the fundraising event.
那么我们的餐券是普通票120块，由市政府退款90块。这个 VIP 的餐券是200块，由市政府退款150块。
For the regular ticket, it will be 120. However, there is a government rebate program, and you will be refunded $90. And for the VIP tickets, it will be $200, and there will be a refund from the rebate program, $150.
另外还有义卖活动，那么这个全数作为福特先生的竞选经费。
Okay. In addition, there will be like a silent auction program at the night, and all the money that we gathered that day will go towards for Mr. Rockford's campaign fund.
我从这1-2天的这个报纸晓得，福特的民调远远高于其他的候选人，所以我们现在事实上应该可以称福特叫 Toronto 市长。
Okay, from the poll and the survey, we know Mr. Ford is way ahead from all the other candidates. And in fact, we can say it here that Mr. Ford is our mayor of Toronto.
下面我们请福特先生先讲几句话。
Okay. Now it's Mr. Ford.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for those kind words and that kind introduction. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm married to my lovely wife, Renata. We have 2 beautiful children, my son Douglas and my daughter Stephanie. I'm the son of the late Doug Ford, the former MPP for Kingsway Humber. My father started off a printing company called Deco Labels and Tags in 1962. I came back from Carleton University in the early 90s, and we had one factory in Rexdale, employing 50 people. And now, with the help of my 2 brothers, Randy and Doug, we've expanded into Chicago and New Jersey and employ over 250 people. I would say approximately 30 to 40% of our employees are Asian. We have many that work in New Jersey, Chicago, and Toronto, up in Rexdale. The bottom line is that I've traveled through Asia. I've been to Hong Kong, I've been to Japan, I've been to Taiwan, I've been to Korea. I know how hard the Asian community works, and I compliment them. I know your family values, and I think that's very, very important. I know how hard you work here in the city and how many jobs you've created, and we appreciate that very, very much. I take a no-nonsense approach when it comes to politics. I believe customer service is number 1. When you call, you deserve to have your calls returned immediately, or when you email, your emails should be responded to as soon as possible. When I say immediately or as soon as possible, I'm looking at least a 24 to 48 hour response time. There's no reason why people can't respond to you within 2 days. I don't believe in taxing. You've been taxed $60, car registration tax, a land transfer tax, a 5-cent bag tax, which is now 6 cents with the HST, $200 garbage tax. Water rates have gone up 20%, 5-cent property tax increases. It's tax, spend, spend, spend. And what have we got for it? Absolutely nothing. We're $300 million back in road repairs. We have a debt that's over $3 billion. And the current regime down at City Hall just keeps taxing and taxing and spending and spending. Well, I'll tell you right now, we do not have to keep taxing and taxing and spending and spending. For example, the largest purchase in Toronto's history was $750 million for subway cars. You would think that you'd get a competitive bid. We did not. We sole sourced it to Bombardier. And it's nothing against Bombardier, but it's the process that's wrong. We have to get competitive bids and stop the sole sourcing. Siemens came in my office and said we could have done this job for $550 million. Right there, we could have saved the taxpayers $200 million, but we did not. Then we go out and spend $45 million on renovating Nathan Phillips Square. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Nathan Phillips Square, ladies and gentlemen, but this is a perfect example of just more squandering of hard-earned tax dollars. You look at St. Clair right of way. St. Clair was supposed to cost $43 million to put the streetcars in. It's now cost over $120 million, and it's still not complete. You look at the Peter Street shelter downtown. We budgeted $5 million for it. It's now over $12 million, and it's still not open. You do the math for a 40-bed shelter at $12 million, you're looking at $275,000 per bed, per homeless person. You could buy a condo for that price for one homeless person. The problem is we're not getting competitive bidding. There's too many sole source deals going on, and there's too many behind-the-door, in-camera meetings. And when they're in-camera, that means you do not know what's going on. And I don't like what I've seen in these in-camera meetings, and I believe if we do have them, then there should be a sunshine date of when all that information becomes public. Right now, they are in-camera forever. They're always confidential, and I don't believe they should be. It's your money. You should know where your money's being spent. I want to contract out some services. I want to contract out garbage, for example, so we don't have a 40-day strike. In Etobicoke, we contract out garbage. We save $2 million a year. If we contracted out garbage throughout the whole city, we'd be saving $15 to $20 million a year, and I guarantee we would not have a garbage strike. The number of employees, 70% of our operating budget goes to wages and salaries. 13 years ago, when we merged 7 municipalities together, we had 37,000 employees. So you would think, like we do in the private sector, that when you merge companies together, the number of employees go down. So you would think we would get probably 30,000. The complete opposite happened. We went up 7,000 employees. We have now 44,000 employees, getting an average wage of $80,000 plus benefits. It is absolutely shocking the way this city's being run. If somebody doesn't get down there and get the bull by the horns and straighten out the spending, the city's going to be bankrupt. And I guarantee you, with my 20 years of political experience, my 10 years of political experience, I've represented Rexdale and Etobicoke North for 10 years and landed the largest development in Toronto's history. I spearheaded a project called Woodbine Live. It was a $1 billion investment. The Portage Group came up and is now creating 10,000 jobs, and I want to see more of these type of developments coming to Toronto. I want people to come in the city, create jobs, and be capitalists in our society. We have to open the doors for business. We have to clean up our city. We have to get rid of all the graffiti. It's absolutely disgusting, the graffiti downtown, the empty storefronts. We have to clean up the whole image of our city. If you look at the Gardner Expressway, one side's beautiful condos, the other side's just all rusted fences, all long grass and weeds, factories of all graffiti on it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we have to clean up the city. And I guarantee when I'm mayor, I'm going to have the city spotless. We have more than enough employees, but we have to go down there and stop playing the games, and let's get the city back on its financial feet. And I know I can do it. I've done it up in Rexdale for 10 years. I've done it in my private sector company, and I know I can do it with the city. Did you have any questions?
So, Mr. Ford, if you are elected, how you prevent the garbage strike again?
Well, we won't have a garbage strike. What we're going to do is go to the unions and ask them to bid on it. It's not anti-union or pro-union. The Teamsters Union were the ones who got the contract in Etobicoke, as you know. Teamsters Union pick up the garbage. So they're more than happy. All I'm asking them to do is bid on it. Right now, we don't know. We don't know if we're getting value for our dollar. So I'm going to ask the unions to bid on the garbage, and I'm quite sure that they probably will get the contract because they know, the streets, they know all the shortcuts, they know the city, they've been doing it for a while. Just like if someone was to go in now and bid against Turtle Island in Etobicoke, Turtle Island would probably get it because they know all the side streets and all the shortcuts. So again, I just want the unions to bid on it. Right now they're not. There is no ASD, there is no alternative service delivery, and there has to be to get value for your dollar. And I've just seen millions and millions of dollars being squandered year after year. And I call it the gravy train. The gravy train's going to come to an end. We can't have councillors going out and spending $12,000 on retirement parties, or taking French lessons, or buying bunny suits, or doing whatever they do with their $53,000. If you go to my website, robford.ca, you will see where councillors spend your hard-earned tax dollars. I have shown every dime of where the money's being spent, and I'm appalled. We make $100,000 a year. I take home $1,400 a week as a councillor. We do not need this $53,000 expense account. You look at the former mayors. If anyone was to need an expense account, it would be the former mayors of Etobicoke and York. They used to represent 300,000 people. Doug Holliday, his expense account is $2,000 a year. Francis Nunziata's is $3,000 a year. Other councillors are $53,000 a year. When you have a discrepancy of a few $100s, people can understand that. But when you have a discrepancy of two former mayors, one spending $3,000 and $2,000 respectively, and the others spending $52,000 and $53,000, we have a problem. When you have a difference of $50,000, obviously there's a lot of money being wasted. And you multiply that by 44 councillors, you do the math, you're looking at millions of dollars that we could be saving the taxpayers. We have a spending problem at City Hall, not a revenue problem. 100%.
Mr. Ford, I'm a reporter with TorontoTv. My question is that it's quite obvious that you got the mandate from the citizens and voters of Toronto, but many people mention that you are supposed to face like minority government in the City Hall once you become the mayor, but you cannot get the support of the majority of the city councillors. So how do you guarantee that your policies can be applied in the future?
Well, let me explain how it was done and how it's going to be done. The largest development in Toronto's history was Woodbine Live, as I said before, $1 billion investment from the Quarters Group. Every single councillor voted in favor of that deal. I was the one who spearheaded that deal. Every single councillor, if there was ever a time when councillors were going to oppose it, that was the deal. We had to give millions of dollars in tax breaks. We had to give concessions to Woodbine Live. And many people called it corporate welfare. Many people didn't agree with it. But at the end of the day, every single councillor supported me in that project. So that's the history. So when people say I can't get votes through, I got every single councillor to support the largest project. How did I? People understand jobs, and people understand at the end of the day it benefits their families, their households, it benefits Toronto. It appreciates the value of everyone's homes and lifestyle. But moving forward, we're going to have 10 new councillors on board. I'm sure 5 or 10 are going to go down in defeat because people just do not accept this tax and spend mentality, and many of them are attached to David Miller's record. And I right now have approximately 15 to 17 councillors that I can count on, because in the last budget meeting, as you saw, I used to get 9 and 10 votes. And then the poll came out on March 25th that I was at 27%. And then the councillor said, wow, he knew my mayor. And then the budget meetings were a couple of days after the poll came out. And all of a sudden I got 17 votes on council. So to answer your question, I will not have a problem getting my mandate through. I'll have more than enough votes. As the weeks come out, you'll see more councillors come out and endorse me. I don't know if you heard today that Mike Delgrand, councillor from Scarborough, has endorsed me. I'm not going to let any names out now, but you will hear councillors probably every other day now come out and start endorsing me. And you will see that I will have more than enough. And it reminds me, I don't know if you remember in 1997 when Barbara Hall and Mel Lastman ran, and they were very upset that Mel Lastman won. And all the Barbara Hall supporters said, mark my words, you're not going to get your agenda through, Mr. Lastman. We have never, not once, had a mayor that could not get his or her agenda through. And I don't see me being any different. So there won't be a problem with my platform. Thank you. Yes, sir.
May I ask a question? Sure. My name is Leon Saul, and I'm candidate for Council for Ward 42, Scarborough Rouge River.
Okay.
My question is that I know in terms of the transit city plan, you are not fully supportive of it, and you've got an alternative vision in terms of more subway development. But Scarborough, Rouge River, 42, Malvern, it's way out northeast, and I think that the transit city plan would help. What is your view really for Ward 42 and making transportation and so on easier for people in that area?
Well, thank you for the question. Doing our polling, as you know, we do town hall meetings, and we ask people, do you want streetcars or do you want subways? Over 70% of the people that we polled out in Scarborough want subways. So what my plan calls for is connecting the Shepherd line over to Scarborough Town Centre and to finish the Bloor-Danforth line, so it's one consecutive loop, so you can literally get on a subway on, let's say, downtown, go all the way out to Scarborough, come around, and go right back to the Shepherd line without getting off. That will cost $4 billion. $3.7 billion has been promised through the provincial government. The other $1 billion will be received through air rights that we sell off along Shepherd Avenue. It's a very simple yet affordable plan. My competition promises 20 subway stations and 15 20-year plans. I'm telling you what I can do within 4 years. 4 years, realistically, we can build 10 subway stations and connect the Bloor-Danforth to the Shepherd line at a cost of $4 billion. And it's a very doable and realistic plan.
Well, I support you, Rob. Since about a month ago, before I became. The Toronto Zoo, for me, I see it could be a possible cash cow, but it's not really fully being utilized, and I think there need to be more development around that zoo, possibly making the zoo even the core of a eco-world or eco-city concept, a green development trust. Why isn't more attention being paid to the Toronto Zoo?
It's a really good question. I believe that we have to get the private sector involved. And I think if we could entertain some people that want to bring proposals forward, I'd be more than happy to entertain some of the experts that could deal with the zoo. A lot of zoos down in the United States are privately run, and they're very successful. So again, I would seeing what the private sector could offer to create jobs and revitalize our zoo.
Is there another question for Rob? Yes.
Yeah, I'm Aaron from the Weekend Chinese newspaper. From some news, the report that you had a part-time job when you were a city councilor because you had your family business always involved. So can you give me any comment on it? If you are selected as the mayor, what will you do? How can you deal with this situation?
Well, I can assure you what I've done for the last 10 years. If you go to my voting record, the Toronto Sun just randomly a couple of years ago took 375 votes. I'm sure everybody remembers that. They came up, they didn't tell any of the councillors what they were doing. They just said, we're taking 375 votes from, I think it was February, March, and April. And it was over the budget time too. And they said, we're going to see what the attendance is. My attendance was 98% of the time I was there, out of just a random 375 votes. This so-called myth of I have a part-time job. I'm at Deco Labels 5 hours a week. I do my city hall job 70 hours a week. Obviously it's a family-run business. I'm the chief financial officer, so I do have to keep the numbers, an eye on the numbers. But I can assure you as mayor, I'll be a full-time mayor, as I've been a full-time councillor, putting in over 70 hours a week. I personally return every single day 50 to 70 calls personally. Now in the election, obviously I'm getting hundreds of calls. I personally return every call that I get. An email, I respond to every email I get. I hand out my home phone number. So with the calls I get at City Hall, I come home, people have my fridge magnet, I hand out my home phone number. I'm the most accessible councillor on council right now, and I'll be that exact same person when I'm mayor. You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Ford, and very soon Mayor Ford. We judge you by your past record and what you propose and say during the campaign. How soon can we see, after elected, the changes in the taxes that you promised, such as the registration tax, the land transfer tax for so, and maybe the garbage bag tax will be gone?
Well, what we're going to do, as soon as I can get a report to council, I'm going to ask to abolish the $60 car registration tax. That's the first tax that's going to be eliminated. The second tax will be the land transfer tax. So I think realistically we can do that in the first year of my mandate. Definitely the car registration tax and the land transfer tax. And I haven't promised to abolish the 5-cent bag tax, but I will be looking at that very carefully, because the 5-cent bag tax doesn't really benefit anyone. It benefits the environment, but it just goes into the owners of the companies.
Why not do like Europe, introduce a brown bag?
Yeah, you could do. And you know what? Like I said, it's a great idea, but I haven't promised to eliminate. The only two taxes I've promised to eliminate is the $60 car registration tax and the land transfer tax. And I will, I'm a man of my word, I will eliminate those two taxes.
We have time for one more question. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
In relationship to land transfer tax, what about the one that was already paid, that land transfer at this moment? Because I'm a real estate broker.
Right.
So I'm concerned the fact that the one whoever bought in this short period of time and already paid. So it's not fair to them if you...
You're right. You know what? It's not right. It's not fair for the people that have already paid. It's not fair for the people who have already paid the car registration tax. But unfortunately, that money has been spent. I cannot make it retroactive. So all I can do is say from the date moving forward, people will not be able to pay the land transfer tax, will not have to pay the land transfer tax or the $60 car registration tax. But I cannot promise that the money that's already been paid for by your customers who have bought houses or sold houses are going to get their money back. That money's gone, and I apologize, and I'm not going to go in debt to try to recover it. All I can do is commit to moving forward.
Ms. Ford, you mentioned that you are going to stop the land transfer and auto registration on the first year of your mandate.
Right.
Do you have any alternative financial resources to deal with the city's deficit?
We're going to tackle it, and like I said, there's more than enough money down there. I just mentioned close to $400 million in savings. Where your land transfer tax was spent last year was sole sourcing the subway cars. That's equivalent to $200 million. Your car registration tax was gone to renovating Nathan Phillips Square. Again, these are two expenditures that we did not have to. Now you look at the $80 million overrun that we spent on St. Clair. You look at the $7 million for the St. Clair, for this Peter Street shelter. Again, I go back to we have a spending problem and not a revenue problem. So we have a plan in place, and I guarantee we'll have our financial house in order. The property taxes will not go up higher than the rate of inflation, which would be the most 1.8%.
Thank you. And next speaker is Mr. Alex Yun.
I'm very delighted to be here to support Mr. Ford as the next mayor of the City of Toronto. For those who know me, I have been interviewed a number of times for different things and so on. I always say, you know, the poor soul who live in the City of Toronto, they have to pay tax and tax and tax. I mean, there are lights down the tunnel. I mean, unfortunately, people have to wait so long, but it's a democratic society, and this is a time for the Chinese community to come out to understand. They really have an opportunity to see a quality mayor who is coming. If we run our municipal or any level government, just like how we run a business, we will all have a better way to spend our own money, not to give money to those politicians who think they know how to spend our money. I mean, a lot of times, of course, we all receive a lot of campaign material. When I look at Smitherman, and while he was Minister of Health, as you know, I'm involved in the healthcare software business, and when I look at the e-health billion-dollar scandal and many others of the sitting provincial government, how they wasted money, we cannot afford any more tax. And again, as we all learn, if we don't know already, that 70% of the wages for the City of Toronto are spent on wages. It's good to spend money on wages, but we have to question ourselves, what do they do with all this money? As a former mayor Ford of the City of Toronto has identified, we don't have a revenue problem, but we have a spending problem. But again, we really have to understand where the money is spending on. wasting money. I have to say, all hard-working family, they work their tails off. And to the point is, we need money for our children, for our family. And Chinese community, we care and we spend a lot of money to look after our seniors, our parents. While the government and all level governments decided to take our money and leave close to nothing for what we really want to spend on, we're really going to question ourselves, why do we live here in Canada? Why do we want to live in city of Toronto? Myself, I don't live in city of Toronto, but I know a lot of my friends and relatives live in city of Toronto, and they really deserve to have a good mayor. Rob Ford will be a future mayor, not because the poll looks good and so on. I believe that he is the only choice for people city of Toronto have, and for them to be accountable. Rob Ford has showcased how to spend money and what not to spend money. And he has preached, and he talked the talk and walked the walk for many years. How unnecessary spending are there. I mean, there's $50-some thousand just on expenditure, like per councillor. Now, mind you, when you add all those numbers up to the total budget for the city of Toronto, may not seem a lot, but that is really a showcase how all other employees of city of Toronto should behave. And I remember being interviewed by one of the Fairchild Radio, actually. I was talking about there was a city of Toronto employee has spent a ton of money by driving from city of Toronto to London, Ontario, to inspect how they conduct. They have to drive back and forth and claim mileage for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The question is why? Like, if we have a mayor like that to run the city of Toronto as if he is running his own business, we will all become very much lesser task to run and also more efficient. And I always joke when the city of Toronto has a garbage strike, and I say, why the city of Toronto has to pay $140-some per ton to dispose of garbage, a ton of garbage, versus the town of Richmond Hill costs about $70-some, almost 2 to 1. Well, you know, like, it's not because the town of Richmond Hill has less garbage or whatnot, or people who in city of town of Richmond Hill are smarter. It simply is they're outsourcing, they're contracting. And I'm very delighted to hear all these are the platform, are part of the platform from the former mayor, Rob Ford. And I believe we should embrace it. The Chinese community should understand it. The Chinese community to come out to embrace. And more importantly, to run a campaign, it needs a lot of money. $1.3 million. And we should all share some of the, if we can support it by financial, that'll be good. We cannot, maybe join into the campaign to help and to talk to our community to have them to understand what is this man is all about. Thank you.
Thank you.
最后我还有一个小问题，这个问题是我太太要我当面跟福特问。
Okay, there's one last question from Mr. Shen, which is from Mr. Shen. He said, okay.
说要我问，请问这个福特先生愿不愿意当我们的仆人？假如愿意当我们的仆人，我们都要投他一票。
Okay. The question is whether Mr. Ford would like to become our servant. If you like to become our servant, who fight for us, who work for us, we're going to vote for you.
I fight for everybody. Everybody, I fight no matter what creed, what race, what religion. I treat everybody equally. So if you want me at your front doorstep, I'll be there just as fast as I'll be at anyone else's doorstep. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate it.
One last